Hey, how's it going again, Guardians? LVnative here with another Destiny 2 video for you. So, you are looking for how to activate all 8 heroic public events so you can maximize your rewards and loot? And look no further, LVnative is going to show you how. Okay guys, so let's go ahead and kick this off. We're going to start with the Weapons Exchange public event. Now this is the one where you have to fight the giant walker. Now at the beginning of the encounter, you are going to see 3 different, like purple bluish shield things over here, and they're going to have scorch cannons inside, but you have 2 little like shield generators on each side of those that have to have an orb placed in them to deactivate them to open up those scorch cannons. Once you do that, that is going to trigger the heroic event. So in order to do that, all you have to do is take out the legs of the walker. As soon as you destroy one leg and it makes the walker go down and opens up that vulnerable spot on his neck, he's also going to drop 3 little orbs that you can pick up and place inside those little shield generators. Once you destroy 2 legs, you'll have a total of 6. That will be enough to unlock all 3 shield generators with those scorch cannons, and it will trigger the heroic event. Now, when that happens, just keep destroying that walker. A second walker plus a lot more, bad guys are going to spawn on you. This is really simple, guys. Once you trigger it, just destroy both walkers, collect your loot at the end. Really simple one to do. Next up is going to be the Cabal Extraction public event. Now this is one where a little like generator drill type thing is going to be, at the very center of the event, and it's going to have a little capture circle around it. What you have to do is you and other Guardians have to sit inside of that circle to raise up the capture point to get it to 100%. Fairly straightforward, fight off the Cabal while you're doing it, but in order to trigger the heroic public event for this one, while you're going to do the exact same thing, fight off your Cabal, make sure you're standing in that circle to raise that meter up, but eventually you are going to have an aircraft come in and start firing at you guys. Now all you have to do to trigger the heroic event is to make sure you destroy that aircraft. If you have a few people focus firing on it when it shows up, it's not going to be difficult at all. In fact, you can get it on the first pass fairly easily if you have like at least 3 people shooting at it. If you don't get that ship down on its first pass, it'll start to get weak and fly away. Don't worry, just keep a lookout. It will make one more pass before you actually complete the event. It'll be towards the end though, so you have to make sure you look out for it. And as soon as he shows up, everyone focus fire until it's destroyed. Once that happens, heroic event is going to start. All that's going to happen after that is going to spawn a bunch of more bad guys for you to shoot, including one giant boss that you need to take down. Once you guys have done that, bingo bango, the thing is done. Go collect your loot. Let's move on. Next up is the Vex public event known as Spire Integration. Now this one is pretty straightforward as well. There is going to be a giant spire that forms in the very center of this area. Your job is to stop the Vex from making themselves to it and sacrificing themselves to the spire. Once 10 enemies have successfully been sacrificed, it will end the event unsuccessfully, but you will still get some loot. So all you gotta do is stay in there and defend it. Once you have a couple Guardians, this is not that difficult to do at all. Now, in order to trigger the heroic event for this one, you are going to see these little beams of light, shooting out from it. And there's going to be a total, I think 3 or 4, I think it's just 3 little areas where that light is going out to. You go over to that, you're going to see another little spire start to form there. All you have to do to trigger the heroic event is make sure that you capture all 3 of these ones while simultaneously defending the center spire. Once you've captured all 3 of those, it will trigger the heroic event. Then all you have to do, again, is focus on defending that central spire. You will have, a servitor and a couple of other big, bad bosses show up. Make sure you just put a lot of lead in their face, kill them, defend that spire for the rest of the remaining time, and you will get the reward for that heroic public event. The next public event is going to be the Ether Resupply public event. This one is actually, to trigger it, fairly easy. In fact, I bet a lot of you have triggered the heroic event with this one accidentally, with not really even knowing how you did it. This is the one with the giant servitor that everyone has to destroy. what's going to happen throughout the event, there are going to be times when a small servitor shows up, right near where the main servitor is, and you need to destroy those small ones in order to take the protective shield away from the large one so you can do damage to it. But there will come a point when he's going to spawn a few of those at the same time. Everybody, all you gotta do is take out all those small servitors. Once you do that, it will trigger the heroic event. Now all you have to do is take out the main servitor. Once the heroic event spawns, it will become noticeably more difficult for you to destroy that servitor. It seems like it does a lot more damage, has a lot more health, but it should, because it doesn't really spawn a lot of extra enemies that it normally wouldn't anyway. Main thing is the servitor itself is just going to get a whole heck of a lot stronger. So destroy all the smaller ones, trigger the heroic event, beat the main big guy down, go collect your loot. Next up is the Glimmer Extraction public event. This is going to be the one where a fallen skiff flies in, drops down a little area you need to destroy. There's going to be 3 or 4 marked enemies that are going to be a little bit more tougher. Once you kill them, the skiff is going to pack up and leave, and then he's going to go find a new location, and that's going to happen a total of 3 times. Once you've cleared the 3rd wave, you are going to complete the public event. Now, in order to trigger the heroic version for this event, each time they, pick that new place to go down and land, you're going to see those little generators right there. There is going to be a smaller, almost like a goldish color generator that pops up that you can see a little beam emitting from. And you'll know it's a lot smaller than the other, structures that it's right next to, and it is the only one that will show hit markers when you shoot it. You want to unload on these with your heavy weapons, do as much damage to them, and blow these up. Now, technically, you do not have to destroy any of them until the 3rd phase, and there's going to, I think, be 3 of those generators that you have to blow up. It's also able to be done one at a time as they're spawning. So when the event first starts in that very first landing zone, after a few seconds, you will see one of those generators spawn. You can destroy that, kill off the rest of the bad guys, and you will go on to the 2nd site, do the same thing, go to the 3rd site, rinse and repeat, and you will trigger the heroic version of this event. Or, like I said, if you happen to miss it on the first 2 sites, as long as everybody jumps in on that 3rd and final site and destroys all those little generators, you will still trigger the heroic public event. When this happens, you are actually going to see the little drill kind of explode, and it's going to turn into a giant pile of glimmer with a very small circle around it. You just need to stand inside that and defend it. The catch is you will have one very big ultra boss that spawns and is going to be moving right towards you to force you out of there. It gets a little annoying because he, as soon as he gets close, he's going to do a knockback effect that kind of knocks you out of that circle. But just keep pushing forward, throw some bullets into him, and he will go down eventually. In fact, if you've got more than, I'd say, 3 people in this event, he will tend to go down very quickly, so not that difficult at all. So make sure you destroy those little generators whenever you see this one, because you want that extra loot from the heroic event. The next public event that we're going to go over is the injection rig. Now, I apologize with the footage on this one. I arrived just a little bit late. I wasn't there right at the start, but the gist of this one is you're going to have that gigantic structure, and that has that giant dome that goes all the way around it. And you need to go inside that dome and destroy all the bad guys that are spawning, and if you just keep doing that, you will complete the public event. Now, in order to trigger the heroic, this one can be one of the trickiest. So if you kind of look up there where we're all shooting, you can kind of see where you see white smoke at the very top, and then we're going to see that in the middle. You're going to see those vents open up right there. That's what we're actually shooting at right now. And once everybody focus fires on that and destroys it, you will actually see a small explosion, and then it'll turn into white smoke. That will be the cue that you've actually destroyed these vents. Now, in order to get these vents to open, you're just going to be doing the public event like you normally would. There's going to be a scion that a named one, a yellow one that's going to show. Once you kill that 3rd scion, there is going to be a very small spot on the very bottom of the rig. Make sure you're in position and ready for it, because that does not stay open too long for this final one. Focus fire in there. Once you destroy all 3 sets of vents, it will trigger the heroic event. Now, when that happens, again, kind of like a lot of these other ones, it's just going to spawn a bunch more bad guys, one really big bad boss that you have to kill. But once you wipe all those out, you will complete the heroic event for the injection rig and get that awesome loot. Okay, and next up is going to be the Taken Blight event. Now this one was really difficult for me to figure out at first, and I felt really silly once I actually figured out how to trigger the heroic event for this one. So the normal event for here, you're going to see a bunch of, different blights appear next to a gigantic one in the very center. And in order to complete the normal event, you just need to go into those smaller blights and destroy the core. Once they blow up, new ones will spawn. Eventually they'll pick a new location. They'll jump around a couple times on you, but all you have to do is keep going into the blights and destroying them to complete the event. Now, in order to trigger the heroic event for this, what you need to do is step inside of one of those blights like you normally would before you would go to destroy it, and you will get a little bit of a buff, and it's going to only be there for a few seconds once you leave that. What you need to do is you get that buff, walk out of the blight, turn right around to the main gigantic center blight, and start doing damage to it. It will not be immune as long as you have that buff, so you're going to need to kind of dance in and out of that little aura so you keep that buff active. Unload as much damage as you can. Once you do destroy that giant center blight, it will trigger the heroic event. Again, same rules apply as most of the others. All you have to do is destroy the rest of the bad guys that spawn, and one of them, of course, is going to be a more tougher boss type character. Kill them and you will finish that public event and collect your good loot. And hopefully if you're doing any of these, you're getting lucky and getting a couple of exotic engrams at the same time, because that's what really makes it feel rewarding when you're doing these public events. And the final public event that we're going to go over to complete all 8 of them is going to be the Witch's Ritual. Now this one can be tricky. It's one that took me a few times before I was able to get it. But what's going to happen is you're going to have some witches and a bunch of enemies spawn in this little room here. And you're going to have 2 circles that are going to be to the left and the right of the main center building here. And from time to time you will see kind of a glowing green aura in them. That is actually going to be the key to trigger the heroic event for this one. And what you need to do is, a little bit through the fight, you are going to see a couple of crystals appear on the upper left and upper right of that main kind of teleporting, barrier or whatever that is that they have there. And all you have to do, they will be immune unless you're standing in the center of one of those little green circles, and then you'll start to see the damage numbers, activate. Focus fire on both of those, destroy the barrier and the crystal inside on both sides. Once you do that, it will trigger the heroic event, and buckle your seatbelt, because all holy hell is going to break loose. It is going to spawn a whole lot more enemies, a bunch more tough, kind of mini bosses, yellow and orange, and then you're going to have, of course, that one big boss. You guys need to focus everything down. This is throw all your supers, all your heavy ammo, throw everything you have at it, because this actually has a tendency to get really, really hairy very quickly. So relax, stay calm, use your supers, blow everything up, work as a team. You guys will get this done. Once you kill all the bad guys coming out of that little portal, you will finish that heroic event and be able to go collect your loot. Alright guys, well that's going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you found this helpful, enjoyable, and or useful. If you did, make sure you take a second to smack that like button and drop a comment in the section down below and let me know if you knew any of these, if they helped you out, or any little advice or tidbits you would like to offer that I neglected to mention in there. Comment section down below is the place to do it. If this is your first time to the channel, welcome to the channel, and consider subscribing and turning your notifications on. That way you will be notified whenever I upload another video like this one, so you can get the tips, tricks, and info you need to get your edge on the competition. But as always, Guardians, this is LVnative. You guys are awesome, and I will see you in the next one.